Okay, no real updates yet on the injury front. Wyatt getting some imaging on the calf. I'll be able to update that later in the week. Like I talked about after the game, got beat on offense, defense, special teams. Obviously, got beat. Players and coaches. It's you see it on tape. The game is the margins are razor thin in this game, and you're 3-3 there at the end of the first. So you get a great takeaway from our defense, and we don't capitalize with points. And then just moments throughout that game where we just got to pick each other up. Offense, defense, special teams got to play complementary football together to go get a win. And we weren't able to do that yesterday, and that's the frustrating part. We're watching the tape as we speak. Players are in the meetings as we speak to learn from it. And we have to move forward. We understand what's at stake, especially this week versus a really good football team in our division. So we'll do that. We will move forward, but I'll answer any questions that you guys have.
Thank you, Coach. First one will be from Scott Petrick.
Hey, Kevin, how tough is it when it feels like there's new issues each week? I'm thinking especially on defense, and it might feel like the target keeps moving on you.
Yeah, I think we're obviously trying to play consistent football. Scott, specific to your question, trying to play consistent defense. As you know, it's you're going up against some tough attacks, and you're going to try and take away their run game or try and take away their pass game, and they're going to make their plays. I think we all get that part. But I think when we play our sound defense, we're limiting big plays. I think you're on your way to playing consistent defense.
And is Denzel still in the protocol?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Matt Fontana is next.
Yeah, Kevin, when you watch the tape with Jacoby, was there anything specific? I mean, that was his worst game of the year, probably. So was there anything that you really noticed that contributed to that yesterday?
Yeah, I think, we can't turn the ball over. I think that's obvious. Jacoby knows that. And really as a team, we have to do way better, both taking care of the ball and getting the ball. But more than anything, I think Jacoby understands his role, and his job is to, operate in this offense, but ultimately we can't turn it over. Again, he understands that.
And kind of off Scott's question with the defense, it seems to be so, frustrating with things. Would you ever take a step over there or like devote more time to the defense, or this is completely on, Joe Woods and his staff to get it corrected?
No, I mean, I spend a lot of time with Joe and the defensive staff week to week. So, we're all working together, trying to get it right.
Appreciate it, Matt. Mary Kay Cabot, go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, wondering what gives you confidence that you guys will be able to get this turned around, and what was your takeaway from Jacoby's message to the team last night?
Yeah, I believe in the people we have in that locker room, Mary Kay. I've seen us play winning football, offense, defense, special teams with that group. And then Jacoby's message, he's a leader. He's been through a lot in his career, so I think it's always good when he wants to impart those type of messages to the guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Let's go to Dale Ryder.
Yeah, Kevin, plenty of kind of lined up in the last couple of weeks to take the blame or the accountability for a lot of these issues that have popped up, yourself included. But I guess my question is, what are the tangible solutions to, kind of fix these things?
What specifically, Darryl?
Oh, just whether it's defense and the breakdowns there, whether it's on special teams and lack of execution in key moments, offensively, just in general, what have you come up with to try and really address these problems?
Yeah, I think that's kind of our job week to week, Darryl, where there's always things that you feel like you can improve, and really trying to identify those things, shore up the things that you feel like you can improve, and accentuate the things that you do well. And I think that's really, that evolves throughout the season. I think, you feel like you're good at one thing earlier in the season, then that maybe tapers off for whatever the reason. You got to adjust to protect that, if you will. I can't get into all the specifics, but I would just tell you, from an offense, defense, special teams perspective, you're constantly doing your own self-scout to find out what you do well and what you don't do well.
And could you consider potential lineup changes for players that aren't, whether it's doing their assignments or whatnot? Is that something that's on the table for you right now?
Yeah, I really think that's a week to week thing. You know, you do that each week. You try to put the guys out there that give you the best chance to win, and we'll always do that.
Thanks, Gerald. Nate Ulrich, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, I know you addressed this issue a little bit after the game, but after reviewing it all, do you wish you would have called more running plays?
Yeah, I think obviously when you get out of a game and you don't come, you know, you lose 38-15, you look at a lot of things that you wish you did differently. I think the game, we weren't having as much success as we've had in the past however many games. And then the game gets to 24-6 with 5 minutes left in the third. So it's going to force you to play a little bit differently in terms of trying to play catch up. So we go into every game, as you can imagine, wanting to make sure that our guys are touching the ball. We talk about it throughout the game about what their touches are and those type of things. It's just sometimes the score and the game dictates that you have to play catch up.
So when it comes to you guys not having as much success, like you mentioned, you guys were the #1 rushing attack, obviously heading in. And is it just a matter of the Patriots or schemed it to take away that strength, or you guys lost Wyatt Teller? What happened? Why weren't you as successful as we're used to seeing you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should start with giving them credit. You know, they, I don't know, there weren't fronts necessarily that we didn't foresee. We didn't win our one-on-ones consistently enough. So as you know, it's sometimes there's dirty runs that happen throughout the course of a game, and then you pop one. And yesterday they did a nice job, but you know, we'll keep working it, not discouraged.
Thanks, Nate. We'll go to Tony Grossi.
Kevin, back to lineup changes. In 2.5 years as coach, you've been very reluctant to make lineup changes other than game scheme things week to week or injury related. Why is that? Your trust in your starting 11 seems to be very strong. Is that a coaching philosophy that you got guys going out there every week and the problems, particularly on defense, continue?
Yeah, I don't know no, Tony, I don't think there's some big philosophical thing there. I just think week to week, you're trying to put the best 11 out there, and then rotational guys. Obviously, you have different guys that play different jobs that maybe aren't the quote unquote starting 11. But bottom line is you go into every game trying to put the guys on the field that will give you the best chance to win. And that's what we're trying to do. And
when you have a game now against Baltimore, you're still 1-0 in the division. You're one game behind them in the division. And then, not to look too far ahead, but Cincinnati after that. At such a critical juncture, are you more reluctant to make lineup changes because of that, or less reluctant to spark something?
Yeah, honestly, Tony, I look at it game to game. I look at the plan we got to put together for Baltimore. It's going to be unique to Baltimore, like it always is. And you're going to do whatever you need to do to win that game.
Jeff Shadell will have our next question.
Hey, Kevin, Grant Delpa is pretty hard on himself yesterday for two plays in particular, the 31-yard touchdown pass only, and then the short pass that turned into a 53-yard gain. He said he isn't wrapping up. What kind of season is he having? What can you do to make him better?
Yeah, I mean, Grant had some good moments in that game, and then obviously, he's playing man coverage and lost his feet. And then we got to get that guy on the ground, as Grant said. So just got to be consistent with your technique. It's fundamentals and finish at that point when you're talking about tackling on the long pass play that we had down the seam. And then, Grant knows this. It's you don't just say, hey, keep your feet. You just want to talk to him about his technique, talk to him about his feet, his hands, those type of things when you're in man coverage.
Thanks, Jeff. Cam Justice, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, I know you guys have talked about leadership not having to be super vocal, a lot of the guys leading by example, but when you're in a place like this where you've lost 3 straight and there's some frustration maybe building within the team, is there a desire to have more of a push for guys to be leaders, step up as leaders vocally, or maybe you put a little more fire into the guys to keep them grounded?
Yeah, I think it's you want everybody to be themselves, Cam, in that regard. So if they are vocal, you want them to be vocal. Leading by example is really, really important, especially like you mentioned, when you're going through, you lost a few in a row and you want to come out on the other side. You want examples of guys that are doing it the right way so everybody can see that. So guys lead in different ways. We encourage them to lead in different ways, but as much as anything, it's a matter of doing and less talking.
And when you're cleaning it up, I know you didn't want to give too much away, but do you think that there's more that you can add? You have worked on fundamentals, put that emphasis on there. Joe Woods talked about maybe simplifying some stuff for the time being to get them up to speed. Do you think there's more things that you can add to that? Or is it just keeping this up and seeing it actually come to fruition?
Yeah, I think I kind of go back to, you're just trying to play consistent defense, and to your question, and consistent defense is playing sound, playing discipline. I thought you saw that in moments. I mean, I thought the run game, in terms of fitting the runs, shedding blocks, tackling, was better. We can't give up the big plays that we gave up, obviously. So you're just trying to find that consistent balance.
Thank you, Cam. Let's go back to Scott Petrick.
Hey, Kevin, when you're in the middle of a 3-game losing streak and coming off a game like yesterday, how much is the trust in like your processes tested?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important that you look at everything, Scott. I do think you have trust in a lot of what you do, but I don't think you can ignore anything when you're going through a stretch like that. You got to look at everything. You got to look at how you approach practice, how you approach really everything you do, how you game plan, and just make sure you're not missing anything. I think that's important for me to do. I think it's important for our staff to do, and push the players on, make sure that their preparation is truly 100% every single week.
And what went into the decision to play Taki more than JOK yesterday?
Just, again, felt like it was that type of game and some of the bigger run fits.
Thanks, Scott. Next up, Mary Kay Cabot.
Yeah, Kevin, it looks like you guys, or you actually have really tried to push the ball downfield with Jacoby, and he's struggling in that area. So, can you find a way to stretch the field and also not put Jacoby in positions to, I guess, fail so many times on these deep balls? Yeah, I think to your point, Mary Kay, you're trying to, you have to be explosive in the NFL. You got to find ways to make explosive passes and make explosive runs. They can come in a bunch of different areas. They can come in different play types. They can come, with throws over the middle of the field, throws outside the numbers. So we're constantly searching for those explosives that present defense is vulnerable to. And Jacoby has shown over the course of his career and over the course of this season, he can make those throws to those areas. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay. We'll take 2 more, Fred Greetham and then Tony Grossi. Fred?
Yeah, Coach, with a 3-game streak and nobody in the AFC North really taking hold of the division, you beat the Steelers. That's got to add a sense of urgency that you can turn things around. You still have that in front of you. Do you feel that sense of urgency going into this week?
Yeah, I think the sense of urgency exists, Fred, in football, in the NFL with 17 games. It's not 162 games. It's not 82 games. It's every single week is just so important. And then you're playing a division opponent this week. So I'm well aware of all the things you're stating, but I'm also laser focused, and we will be hyper focused on putting together a game plan, preparing to go down to Baltimore and play our best football.
Thanks, Fred. We'll close with Tony Grossi.
Two quick things. The first quick thing is Deion Jones was not ready, obviously, to play. Is it more likely he would be this week?
Yeah, it's definitely more likely. Want to continue to see how he comes along, Tony, from a physical and mental standpoint. And after the game, you were asked about Josh Dobbs starting. Let me ask you about relieving during a game to provide a spark. Are you against that? I know last year Baker's the franchise quarterback and all that, but you're operating with a kind of a temp quarterback right now. Are you as reluctant to seek a spark at that position if it's not performing well? Yeah, I won't get into speculative stuff like that, Tony. I just think for us, Jacoby's battling. I know he can play better. I've seen him play better. He will play better. I've seen it. So that's where my focus is.